morning, I have no idea what's going on because Anita is in Mexico. So maybe she's having some poor internet connectivity. I don't know. Anyway, I'm here. It's Cheryl, all in alignment with Anita and Cheryl. Yeah, we're all in alignment. And I keep saying we because it's usually Anita and I here. So if you're joining us for the first time, there's normally two of us, Anita and myself. I'm Cheryl of All in Alignment with Anita and Cheryl. And we wear these fun glasses to bring awareness that you and everything in your environment is alive with energy. And we want you to start looking at everything around you with new feng shui eyes. This is our Feng Shui Friday, always live on Facebook every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we often have, I shouldn't say often, every time, it's been over 2 years now, we get our topic of conversation from the Personal Paradise Feng Shui card deck by Tara Catherine Collins. Tara is an incredible woman. She founded the Western School of Feng Shui, and that's where Anita and I are both certified through. In fact, Anita is the only Canadian that has the title, if you want to call it a title, of being the only teacher to certify people in Canada. So that's very cool. She's very talented herself. She's the wise one in our group. Well, we're both wise in different ways. Anyway, so it's just me looking like it today. So I have shuffled the deck, of course, and I've had one card come out so far, but that's it at this point. Interestingly enough, after it came out, I kind of glanced around, looked out the window, and the card that came out is the number 1 card, Animals. And I looked out the window and we have a huge poplar tree, cottonwood for some of you in the US, in our close. We don't have houses across the street from us. We have a beautiful green area, nature area. And the tree was completely covered in cedar waxwings. So many so I had to get up and take a picture because it was pretty amazing. And then, of course, they were on the ground and all over. So to see the animal card come up is very cool. The second card that just flew out of the deck is the number 3 color card, which color is so, it's exciting. It's a part of our world. And I actually was doing some reading. My word for the year is frequency. And I had the insight earlier this week to start looking up and talking about the frequency of color. That was my insight this week. So to see color come up is not a real surprise to me either. And then the third one that just came up, I'm going to put the rest of the deck away so I don't drop it all over the floor, is the number 28 card, Desk. Very cool. My desk is quite colorful. The desk itself is white, but as you can imagine, like the pictures behind me and my typical personality, I love color. I have very little just black and white in my wardrobe, actually. And in our house, we have black, of course, because it represents water. But so let's talk about this combination. And before I came on live, I want to share that anytime animals come up or we see a representation like that, in my opinion and my teacher's opinions, it is spirit trying to get our attention. So the book that I go to is Animals Speak. It's a Ted Andrews book. As you can see, well-worn book in my house. And I just want to check on cedar waxwings because they're not uncommon here. Their behavior, I mean, we see them in the winter because we have a lot of the older mountain ash trees in our area. We haven't seen a lot of them this winter, so I'm just seeing if I can. Okay, so I'm not seeing them under cedar. So let's look at waxwing. There we go. Study also cardinal, but 205. So let's just see what cedar. I love having books that give us a little bit more, a little more insight. So the waxwings, gentleness and courtesy. Their cycle of power is spring and summer. The waxwing is a beautiful and gentle bird of summer. It is a member of the cardinal family, and thus the cardinals should be studied as well. It is usually the light chocolate color with traces of pink or mauve and with a bright yellow band. It goes on to describe it quite a bit more. A study of colors will provide some insight into the energies often associated with this bird. Like its relative, the cardinal, the waxwing has a crest upon its head. This reflects an innate wisdom that it can awaken. It also has ties to ceremonial headgear and the use of it to shift consciousness. The waxwing is actually a very gentle and polite bird. Waxwings are often known to pass food to each other. If a waxwing has come into your life, look at the gentleness you are experiencing or missing within your life. Are others extending to you the courtesy you deserve? Are you extending to them the courtesy they deserve? Do you need to start seeing yourself and others from a new perspective? Are you possibly not being gentle enough to yourself? The waxwing will show you how to awaken gentleness as a true virtue within your life. Very cool. Nice message for me to look into a little bit further. And my husband also spotted it. So it's kind of for both of us, right? Excellent. All right. So let's go back to the cards. At least that explains why the number 1 card comes up. Everything is energy. And in the 2 years that we have been doing these Friday morning lives, not once has everything not connected. And we can usually relate it to something that's been going on in our life, something that has transpired or been in our awareness or in our energetic field. So I just want to grab this other little sheet that I pulled off the other day, because seriously, I was learning and studying about healing through colors. So when that came up as the number 3 card, it's pretty amazing. And there has been a lot of science behind color and the frequency of colors and how they can do, how they can enhance areas of our lives that we want to enhance. Often when Anita and I are working with clients on a virtual consultation or home assessment, or when we're teaching, it's fascinating for me to observe the colors that people wear. In our society and in fashion, for example, often the black is the basis. The black is associated and blended in, and you want to look slimmer or taller or whatever. Black is water, and the water energy is really strong right now. We're into the Pisces astrology chart. And I was interested, I was listening to Brock Goldsmith. If you've never heard of her, she's a phenomenal astrologer, and on YouTube, of course. And I was listening to her Saturn moves into Pisces right now this morning. I didn't get all the way through it, but it was all about water and what we're going to be going into and learning about water and what we can learn from the oceans and the seas and the insights that are coming through. But that goes back to color. So, excuse me, in what I've read and known, black is actually the absence of color. And white is the basis of all color. Then the colors, of course, are associated with our chakras and many other frequencies and associations. They come in and they have different frequencies associated with them. It's quite fascinating when you start delving into some of the metaphysical and scientifically proven information. So let's look at the desk card. So the number 28, desk. Oh, many people over the last few years have started working from home. Anita and myself, we've both been working from home for a lot longer than that, so it was not an adjustment for us. But for many, the last 3 years has been a huge transition and a huge adjustment. And when we look at our desks, everything is a reflection. So our outer world is always reflecting what's going on in our inner world. So if your desk and you happen to look at it and it is buried, it is covered in stacks of paper and projects, and when you look at it, you feel overwhelmed, it is a direct correlation and reflection of your emotional state, which is very fascinating, as is our entire environment around us, not just the desk. But because the desk card came up, I want to talk about it. We can utilize, and we've talked about the Bagua in the past. We can utilize the Bagua, right? Anita and I have talked about this many times. In the macro, so our home, our property, our city, but we can also take it right down to the most minute area, the micro of your desk. So for example, as I am sitting at my desk, and when we look at the Bagua, so we always lay it down. So this is where we're entering our desk from, right? So we're sitting at our desk. This is going to be the areas right in front of you. So in my case, the drawer and the opening at my desk is all of helpful people and travel and part of career. Then on the side of my desk where I have a drawer and shelves and a cupboard is the rest of career and knowledge and self-cultivation. Okay. My water bottle, I'm right-handed, so it's up in the top right-hand corner, is in my love and relationships area. And I have a plant and a salt. I'm not going to move the plant, but a salt candle holder. And they are in my wealth and prosperity area. Interestingly enough, as I have the camera set up here, that is fame and reputation or fame and recognition. So our desk can also be utilizing the Bagua if there's something in your life that you want to enhance. So let's go back to the cards that came up today. We've got animals, color, and desk. Interestingly, and rarely on these card decks, each one of these is a one-word card. So the number 1 is obvious to me in here. But the numbers associated with all of these, 1 and 3 equals 4. 2 and 8 is 10. Combined is a 1. So now we have 1 and 3 equals 4 plus a 1 is 5. So if we're looking at numerology today, the number we'll look at is 5. We're not going to do that just yet. Combinations of all of these. So when I was just talking about whatever's going on in our environment is a direct reflection of what's going on inside us. So let's talk a little bit about animals here. We talked about the birds that I saw. That's not necessarily going on in your life at the moment, right? Of course it's not. You're not living in my house looking out the same window. But the animals in our homes are also a direct reflection. So how they are acting and reacting. How healthy are they? What kind of condition are they in? How do we treat our pets? They are an extension of our family, or should be, because we've brought them into our energetic circle. Interestingly, there are many that treat animals less than what's the word I want? Less than optimal. Let's use that. And animals have every right to be on this planet as we do. Every animal. Whether it is a dog, a cat, a reptile, a spider, a fish. It does not matter, but they are also a direct reflection those that are pets in our homes, of ourselves. So how often is their food area, their bedding, all of those things cleaned and maintained? How healthy are your pets? Are they getting exercise? And if they're getting exercise, often that means so are you. If they're not getting exercise often, and in our case, my case specifically, that means I haven't been getting exercise either. So when I had that awareness, when that card came up, it was like, okay, something Cheryl needs to take note of. So I want to go back to color again and the colors that we surround ourselves with. When we talk about 5-element theory, also something Anita and I teach, there's a color associated with the 5 elements that we work with. Remember, I had said black is associated with water, color black. But when we look at yellow, for example, that is a color association with earth. That sand color, the dirt color, terracotta colors and terracotta. Red, we often see and is associated with the fire element. So those that are looking at doing some healing or have information on healing through color, I'd love for you to comment in the chat. And because I've got several things on the go here, I'm not looking at Facebook Live at the moment and your comments. So thank you for those that are joining us. Hello and good morning. Love some feedback. If you've worked with color, if you have a favorite color, because I think that too is quite fascinating. My favorite color is red. And most people shy away from red. It's been my favorite color for as long as I can remember, and it's reflected in my surroundings. Red is associated with fire and activity and busy, and it can become all-consuming as a fire can. It can also be associated with anger if there's too much of it. So when we combine the color and animals, look at the bedding. What color sleeping area? Is everything for your pet very muted and very low color? Our dog is fairly high energy. When I think about it, his bed is red and black plaid. So he's got a little fire energy added to the coloring, but the inside is white, which is very mental. And he's a black dog. So we can actually even balance the areas with color for our pets in that association. I want to come back to the desk again. All of these are blended together, all of them. And our creature comforts, the things that we're comfortable with, can also be associated with our surroundings, with the colors. And if something is going on in your life right now that isn't the way you want it, you're not seeing the results that you want, I want to suggest you start looking at your environment first. So take off your glasses, put on your feng shui eyes, and look around you. But really look, tune into what you like, what you don't like. Is there something on your desk that is not serving you? In your desk that is not serving you? Is your desk serving you? What is in your view when you're sitting at your desk? Anita and I teach that, that view when you look up, that is straight across from your eyes. So in your perfect vision, that is prime real estate. So if something that you're looking at isn't what you want, change what you're looking at, because it's going to affect your psyche. The colors are going to affect you vibrationally and through frequency. And you're impregnating or planting the seeds of that. So for example, someone I was talking to recently was looking at a wall. So their desk was up against a wall. And when they looked up, it was a wall. Well, guess what? They felt like they kept hitting a wall because that was being reinforced when they looked up all the time. So when Anita and I teach and talk about the command position in your office, that means, where are you sitting? So having command of your space is not you facing a wall. There are, of course, sometimes your furniture dictates, and really it shouldn't, because that means your possessions are possessing you. However, sometimes we're in a situation and that is the furniture that we have at the moment. What can we do about it? We can shift things up. So even for the person that was facing the wall, they chose to put up an image that inspired them, that was depicting freedom and choices and their dreams and their goals. So what's directly in your vision when you look up from your desk? Lots of people will, and myself included, I'll change scenery. If I want to get comfortable and get more creative, I relocate from my office, because my office with the colors, a lot of white, is to stimulate mental activity. There's some color, absolutely. This is my children and creativity area. Playful, garden, fun, yes. But I only see that when I'm on Zoom because it's behind me. But it's all good because that imagery for me is Gaia, and Gaia supporting me. And where my creativity comes in is when I'm playing outside. So if I want to get more creative, I'll relocate myself to the living room. And the view from where I sit in the living room is different than the view I have in my office. So depending upon the kind of things that you're doing or working on, if you want to relax and you utilize your device, or if you just want to relax, changing your view will help that. Sometimes changing our view from our desk isn't putting us into a relaxed state. So hopefully all of that is helpful for everybody. I do want to talk about the numerology. Let me just grab the book I always refer to, which is Marilyn Harper and Joy Roby's Double Digitology. And you can get that on Amazon, of course, or on their website, adirondacks.com. As I mentioned, the numbers totaling today, 1, 3, and 28 adds up to a 5. So let's see what Anita talks about with the 5, because she always talks about the number shape, which I think is very cool. And of course, that's the one I flip to instantly. The 5 is change. The 5 is a number that in its physical structure is balanced, yet it is poised for movement or action. It is ready and can roll around. That rounded bottom, right? So when she's talking about it, that's the shape of the 5. Love it. A couple other points that she talks about. By itself, the 5 is about change, but it seems to stand out a bit stronger as a focus on sensuality and sexuality. A person with a 5 as a life path number may have some difficulties staying faithful in an intimate relationship and may be better suited to an open relationship unless they are indeed truly devoted to the person they are in relationship with. So that's a little bit interesting. And then it goes into the double digits of the 5-5. So when we're looking at the 5, and when she's talking about life path number, there is more in this book than just about the numerology. Your life path number is in here. There's a number, other numbers based on the letters of your name, as well as your date of birth. So there's a number of ways you can utilize this book. Anyway, to go back to a couple other points. a move in a totally new direction, almost a pivot to an opposite path, which is interesting. Is seeking balance between the physical and spiritual world. Tactile, literally something to physically touch, or changing in one's direction, changing one's energy. And I've really noticed, and I've heard many other spiritual teachers talk about this, especially now that Saturn is moving into Pisces, is there is a huge shift that has been growing in looking at spirituality, in people starting to question what we've been taught and led to believe to this point in time in our lives. And I find all of that very fascinating. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me/us. I hope Anita and everything is going well in Mexico. I'm going to guess it's likely an internet issue, which happens often because I do have other friends in Mexico. Oh, I thank you all for being here today. I hope you received some insights. Take a peek at what animals show up for you today, because this isn't just for me and what's going on in our life. These cards are always indicative of those that are joining us and what's going on for them, whether it's animals, color, or your desk. And the desk can often be representation of your career. So if we chose another word for desk, look at it this from your career perspective. And career doesn't mean you have to be paid, right? Career can be volunteer work. Career can be how you serve humanity, as another way of looking at it, or your purpose, your joy, what fills you up. Leave some comments, send me some hearts. First time I've done this by myself. I hope you've enjoyed it. And we will see you again next Friday. Hopefully there'll be 2 of us, all in alignment with Anita and Cheryl. And of course, you can watch all of our replays on our YouTube channel. You're welcome to check that out anytime. All in alignment. Shocking that the name is the same, right? Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining me.